Okay, we're going to begin Algebra Lecture 2. You're starting on page 85. We're going to go through exponents, scientific notation, and review polynomials. We need to talk about a couple of properties of exponents. What's a good definition of an exponent to start?
Squared, cubed.
Squared, cubed.
Something raised to a power.
Something raised to a power. Something raised to a power. So if I have x cubed, that means x times x times x. So there's 3. So the first property of exponents we're going to talk about is the product property. Okay, the product property means when I'm talking about multiplying exponents that have the same base. So let's say I have an x squared, and I want to multiply that by x cubed. My base is the same. They're both x. So my answer is still an x. And how many x's did I have? This is really 2 x's and 3 x's, right? So I have how many total? 5. So the product property tells me that I add my 2 exponents together, 2 plus 3, 5. So the product of my 2 exponents. Now we're going to talk about the power property. Okay. So let's say I have x squared again, and that is inside a set of parentheses. And I have cubed out here. So this is really x squared, which is x times x, 3 times. Right? So how many x's do I have total? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the power property tells me I can multiply these two, the 2 times the 3, to give me my new exponent. Okay. So product property and power property. Let's go through some of the examples here. Our example A is negative 4x cubed times 1/2 x squared. All right, what's that called when I can rearrange multiplication? Associative property of multiplication. So I want to rearrange this a little bit. I want to put my constant terms together and then my variables together. X cubed times x squared. That makes it a little bit easier to keep track of. So what's negative 4 times 1/2? Right, it's a fraction, so I just go straight across. So 4 times 1 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. That's negative, so it turns into a negative 2. And how about my x's? X cubed times x squared. X to the 5th. So which property did I use? Product or power?
Power. Or no, product.
Product. Okay. I have 2 terms with the same variable multiplying each other, so I add the exponents. Our B example is p cubed to the 2nd power times p to the 4th to the 2nd power again. So order of operations, I should get rid of the brackets first. So I need to use the power property. So what is p cubed squared?
So you're looking at P7 4 power.
So power property, remember, if I have a set of brackets, what did I do with the 2 and the 3?
Times together.
Okay, I multiplied those together to get a 6. So it's the same thing here. 2 times 3, 6. And then this set of brackets, so 2 times 4 is 8. So I started with the power property to get rid of the brackets. And now I'm going to use the product property. So I need to add, what's the product of 6 plus 8? 14. So product property and power property. Any questions on that? No? Okay, let's keep going then. Example 2. A is negative 3a squared. So start with your number. What's negative 3 squared? 9, positive or negative? Positive, 2 negatives, and then a squared. A squared. That was a pretty simple example. Example B is negative 3a squared. Do I need to do anything to that? Can I do anything to that? No. Without knowing what a is, that's all that I can do. Example C is negative 5a cubed over 2b squared. So we'll do the top and bottom separately, so let's start on the top. Negative 5 squared. 25, and then a cubed squared. So is that the product or the power? Power, right? They're multiplying, so what's 3 times 2? 6. Okay, and then down on the bottom, 2 squared, and then b squared. B squared. Now I need to look at this and see if I can simplify it at all. So 25 over 4. Will that simplify? Nope. How about a over b? Will that simplify at all? No. Okay, so that's as easy as it goes. Example 3 says applying the power property after a substitution. So the formula for the volume of a cube is volume equals s cubed, where s is the length of one edge. So we've got a cube, and the length is 2x squared. So each of my side lengths. So my volume equals s length, which is 2x squared, and then all of that is cubed. We'll start with my 2. What's 2 cubed?
8.
8. And then my variable, I have x squared cubed. So do we want to use the power property or the product? I want to use the power. When I multiply them together, that's the power property. So 2 times 3 is 6. So my answer is 8x to the 6. That's the volume of the cube. And then it says substitute 2 for x. So they give me an x value write it 8 times 2 to the 6th. So order of operations, I need to get rid of the parentheses in the exponent first. So what's 2 to the 6th? 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. So I'll have 8 times 64. Grab the calculator.
That's 12.
512. And then whatever my units was, let's say it was 2 centimeters. Then centimeters cubed. So volume is always in a cubic unit. Okay, so the next property of exponents is called the quotient property. So quotient property helps us to simplify. So if I have x to the 5th over x squared, the best way to visualize this is to write it out longhand. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's over 2 x's. Do I have any terms similar on top and bottom? Yes. So I can cancel. All those will cancel out. So I'm left with how many x's on top?
3.
Okay, so this simplifies down to x over 3. So I have 5 on top, 2 below. Get rid of the 2 below and subtract. So 5 minus 2, that's how I figure out what my new exponent is going to be. Let's do a couple of examples. Let's say I have x squared over x to the 4th. How many do I have on top?
2.
2, and how many are on bottom? 4. So I can get rid of how many?
2.
2 on top. So I'll have 2 left on bottom. How do I finish writing that expression?
Put a 1 in.
Put a 1. Okay, negative exponents. Negative exponents. Let's say I have 2a cubed over b squared, and all of that is to the negative 2. What's the rule when I have a negative exponent? What can I do?
It just crosses itself out and makes it positive.
Okay, this flips over, so it turns into b squared over 2a cubed squared. So to get rid of a negative exponent, I need to use the reciprocal, take away the negative sign. So then let's solve this. B squared squared. So I want to use the power property. So what's the power? What's 2 times 2? 4. So I'll have b to the 4th. And then on bottom, what's 2 squared?
4.
4. And then a cubed squared. So again, power property. So what's the power of 3
6.
times 2? 6. Will any of those terms simplify? No? Okay, so then there's my answer. Okay, so that's this one. I have 3h k to the negative 2 cubed times 6h h to the negative 2, k to the negative 3, all of that. Yuck, that's kind of a yucky problem. Okay, so first thing, let's get rid of the brackets. What is 3 cubed?
27.
27. And then h cubed. And then negative 2. I've got k. So I still use the power property here. So it's negative 2 times 3.
Negative 6.
Negative 6. Okay. And then that is times. So 6. What do I need to do with this negative up here?
Times place.
Okay, use the reciprocal, so that's really over a 1, right? So when I flip it over, I'll have 1 over 6, h to the negative 2, k to the negative 3. That's all squared. Okay, so then I'll have 27 h cubed, k to the negative 6 times, then let's go over here. 1 squared is still 1. 6 squared,
36.
36. H to the negative 2 squared,
H.
and then k to the negative 3 squared,
Negative 6.
k to the negative 6. We're looking okay so far? Okay. So then I can rewrite these, right, because I'm multiplying fractions now. So multiply straight across. So I can rewrite it like this. 27 h cubed, k to the negative 6, all over 36, h to the negative 4th, k to the negative 6th. Okay. So then I always draw little dotted lines between my terms so I can simplify. So 27 over 36, how can that simplify down? They're both divisible by what number? 9? Okay, so 9 into 27 goes how many times?
3.
3. And 9 into 36 goes 4. Okay, so there's my number simplified. Then let's go with the h's. So I have 3 on top and then negative 4 on bottom.
You can have a negative 1 left.
Well, not really, unfortunately, because this is a negative. What was the rule when I had a negative exponent? What did I do?
Turn it into a positive.
Okay, I have to use the reciprocal and turn it into a positive. So negative 4h. This is really, I can write this as h to the negative 4 over 1. So then if I use the reciprocal and flip that over, it turns into, whoops, I did that the wrong way. Okay, it's really 1 over negative h to the 4th. And then if I flip that over and reciprocate it, it turns into h to the 4th over 1.
That was really clever.
That was really clever. Instead of being able to erase. So then now I have a 4h up on the top line. So I'll have a h3 and an h4. Now how about my k's?
That's cancel completely.
They can cancel completely, right? Doing it the long way, I would first do this, flip them over to get rid of that negative exponent, but then I'll have k to the 6th and k to the 6th, so they'll just cancel. So let's go back to our h's. Which product? Okay, using the product property, what's the product of 3 plus 4?
3h to the 7th.
Okay, so I'll end up with 3h to the 7th over 4 as my final answer. Okay, let's do another one. So our example C here is 3x to the 0 power plus 3x, that is inside brackets. to the 0 power plus 3 to the negative 2. Okay, whenever we have 0 as our exponent, whatever is underneath that 0 turns into a 1. So I have a 3x inside brackets raised to the 0 power. So that turns into a 1. How about over here? What is raised to the 0 power?
X.
Just the x. And then 3, the negative exponent. What do I do with negative exponents? Okay, so that's really 3 over 1. So that turns into 1 over 3 squared. Okay. So 1 plus 3 plus, and 1 squared is still, and 3 squared, 9. So to add fractions together, what do I need to do? Common denominator, except this one's really easy. 4 plus 1/9 equals 4 and 1/9. Okay, so 0 as our exponent turns everything into 1. Example D is negative 2 m squared n cubed all to the 5th power over 4 m n squared to the 3rd power. Okay, let's get rid of the brackets. So negative 2 to the 5th power is 2,
Negative 32.
4, 6, 8. So positive or negative? What's the rule when we have an odd exponent?
Keep the sign.
Okay, it stays negative. M squared to the 5th power. So I need to use my power property here. So what's 2 times 5? 10. So I'll have m to the 10th, and then power property again.
15.
N to the 15th. And then down on bottom, 4 cubed, 64, m cubed, and n squared cubed. What's 2 times 3?
6.
6. Okay, now I want to simplify, so I'm going to draw my dotted lines in. 32 over 64, how will that simplify?
1 over 2.
1 over 2, is it going to be positive or negative?
Negative.
Okay, so I still have a negative. 1 over 2. How about my m's? I have 10 up here and 3 down here.
So 3 of them cancel.
Okay, so the 3 on the bottom will cancel out, so what's 10 minus 3? 7. So I'll have m to the 7th. And then same with the n's. I have 15 up here and 6 down here.
9 left over.
Okay, so all 6 of those will cancel. 9 left over. Feeling okay so far on exponent properties?